Hi, I'm Austin, and this video is about how I went from this, an idea from team member Cody Irick, to this, the first run of a brand new mold called the Groundhog. So being the only person that actually works for the company Elevation Disc Golf, I have my hands in absolutely everything that goes on. So I'm going to take you through the process from idea through design on CAD to 3D printing prototypes to getting actual mold prototypes to getting the final runs. So if that interests you at all, come along with me. This is Tiki. Tiki, say hello. Good job. Ow. Here's what Cody sent me as the inspiration for this mold. Basically, I want it to be pretty much like the Berg-ish, but my goal is to make it less tall. Like, I feel like this is really tall and just feels like really fat, I guess. Chunky, bulbous. I don't know. They did a good job. I understand why they did it that way. They needed to make it as blunt as possible, to make it as slow as possible, and make the rim not very wide to make it as slow as possible. But yeah, what I'm thinking is with Cody's idea to make the middle of the flight plate thicker, I think I can make the rim more like a normal feeling disc, backhand and forehand, but still get like the really low glide, low speed. So that's what I'm going for. I am going to get some measurements of the Berg, basically to understand where I'm starting at. If I'm trying to make it less tall, how tall is too tall? So I'm going to do the very scientific thing of taking a ruler using millimeters because I'm sciencey, and measuring things like the height, the rim depth. Rim depth is 14 millimeters. The height of the disc, hold on, you're gonna come with me. Can you see it? The height of the disc, it's like 19, 20 millimeters. Pretty tall for a disc. Okay, you clamp it around the rim. We're sitting at 2.1, which like 2 millimeters is pretty average for most disc golf discs. None of my discs are 2 millimeters. All of them have thinner flight plates. I think the thinnest is like 1.2 millimeters and the thickest is maybe like 1.8. Adds more gyroscopic stability if the flight plate is thin, which I think like Discmania's Q-line does that. So all of mine are extra thin. This time, I want to have thinness right here and then to get thicker as it goes toward the middle. So really thin, like extra thin, and then really thick, extra thick. So here we go. Okay, people, here we are. I use FreeCAD because it's free and it works great. Thank you, FreeCAD. You're awesome. Here's like every mold that I've tried to make ever. Wow. Some of them have never really seen the light of day. So like, look, Arowana took me 9 tries. Sphinx took me 13 tries. Yeah, just like a lot of discs. Some of them were good. Some of them sucked. I made the ones that were good. All right, so I like to start from a similar mold. In this case, honestly, I think the most similar mold is going to be the Arowana. And here we are. So basically how this works is to make a disc that's not anything like wild and crazy. You essentially just take the profile of the disc. This shape right here is the profile of the Arowana. And then you essentially just revolve that profile around this middle line right here, like the y-axis basically. And when you revolve a profile and infinitely many times, you get an entire disc. So basically, to make a disc, you make the profile of the disc. So here's a bunch of numbers. And what we have here is the black lines are going to be the actual lines of the disc. And the blue lines are things called like construction lines, and they just help me like figure out where I am. They're like reference points, basically. I'm going to show you a bunch of this stuff, but I'm also going to skip through a bunch of this stuff because it takes me like, kind of a long time to make it. So you're going to get the highlight reel, the rim width. The Arowana is set to 11. Basically, like I forgot to get the rim width. That's funny. But good thing I have this thing, Berg's rim width 8.5, which is really thin. That's part of why it feels kind of funny. I'd like to be somewhere around there, but I do want it to feel a little bit different than the others, as I've mentioned. I think I'm going to start with 9. 9 millimeters is going to be the rim width. And then the rim depth, gosh, I measured it, but I already forgot it. It was 14. I'd like it to be not as deep, ideally. 14, 15 for them, the other discs. I'm going to go with 13 because I like the number 13. It's my family's lucky number. And 1 millimeter or like a half millimeter to 1 millimeter here, and then 1 millimeter here, smaller or bigger, and then smaller is going to actually make a pretty big difference in how it feels. You might not believe me, but I promise when you feel it, you'll know. Here we are, is mostly cleaned up. A lot of the flight is determined by the rim. Flight plate's kind of secondary here. So the rim shape, this is going to be basically what decides my parting line right here. I'd like the height, the total height, to be around 18 millimeters, because those ones, again, we're just trying to make everything just like a little bit more comfy. So those other discs are like 20 millimeters, 19 or 20. So I'm going to shoot for 18. Like the stability depends on the parting line material below versus material on top. More material on the bottom half of the disc from here to here versus the top half from here to here is going to be more overstable. If there is more material on the top versus the bottom, it's going to be more understable. So the Arowana, for example, is like a 0.2. There's a little bit more material on bottom half than top half, and this holds pretty true to that. It's a little bit more stable than understable. I'm going to start out with a sort of even split here, because this has another thing going for it that's going to make it more overstable, which is it's going to be drastically puddle topped, and it's going to have a thick inner flight plate, which is going to lose gyroscopic stability and make it more overstable, theoretically. I don't know. That's where we're starting, whatever. That's a really long way to say that's where we're starting. I'm going to start making the rough shape here. Here's what I don't like about this. I want the bottom to be flatter. I think it's going to make it feel comfy and going to help it be slow, I guess. Actually, I want this to be steeper. I want this line to be steeper. I'm almost going to put it like halfway through. Good, good, good. Starting the ascent into the bottom of the rim where you tuck your fingers into. Fun little factoid. This little part back here on the inside of the rim, if you look at discs that you have, it's never really going to be straight up and down, or especially not this direction, because you need to be able to pull it out of the mold. So you do this thing where it's like tapered, so you can easily, the bottom part of the mold is going to be tucked in here, and you need to be able to pull it off easily. I'd say that's the bottom half of the rim. Now the top. I almost want the top to be like a mirror image of the bottom. Again, we're going for bulbous, but we're not going for as bulbous as the other bulbous discs. Do with that information what you will. A lot of this, for me, designing a disc is almost like art. There's a lot of feeling involved. There's a lot of estimating. There's a lot of guessing. I think it's fun that way, and I think it's successful. I think disc golf is a game where you are creative, use your feelings, you do what feels right, and I do the same thing when I'm designing discs. So I kind of like that so far. So yeah, it's almost like a mirror image, top and bottom. This is very round. I like that. That feels good. That's how the koi is. It's smaller. It's like scrunched, but the koi is very round. It's almost like a half circle. So I like that. Let's take a look at this. Do I like that? Kind of looks like an egg or something. I just made an egg. That's fun. So now let's kind of straighten this out a little bit abruptly. Like I said, like I want it to feel like an abrupt puddle is over, you know? Go home, puddle's over. Okay, so we've reached the first place where I might have to redo some of this. So I don't want to make this rim depth any deeper. So if I make this go higher, it's going to be deeper. But I want the rim depth to meet up with this a little bit closer. Wait, what is going on? I've been looking at the wrong reference line this whole time. Gosh, I'm stupid. So now that I'm looking at the correct reference line, I'm just going to do this again, but I'm going to do it better. This is 9, right here. Not this. I don't know what this is. Like, who did that? I didn't do that. Let's just delete all this, I guess. And this guy, we're going to make 2 millimeters because we want the puddle to be 2 millimeters of puddle. Good. I like the placement. Very nice. There we go. We got an abrupt end to our little bump right here. You know what? I would still like this to be a little closer. So I'm just going to redo that all again. Okay, I made a reference line. This is the line we're going to. Ugly, ugly, ugly. I think we're in the right area. I think that'll feel nice. It'll feel like a very firm thing to grasp onto. With the meat of your hand on a backhand and with your thumb on a forehand. Firmly grasp it.
Firmly grasp it!
Okay. Flight plate thickness over on this side to be 1.4, which is like generally the smallest I like to go for manufacturability. Easy as pie. And cool. Now we're at 1.4. The middle of the flight plate to be like sort of like 2.8, really thick. And in this case, I'm just gonna draw a line like literally a straight line. And boom. And we're gonna round that corner and have it go to there. And okay, so this is shaping up to be done. You're gonna think it's done, and then I'm gonna throw you for a loop. I'm gonna trick you. After you get the rim shape, you know, the critical dimensions here, then you run into one of the most important and most not thought about design requirements, which is the disc has to be within the weight limit for the PDGA requirements, which is the disc diameter in centimeters times 8.3. So this disc, the radius of the disc is 106 millimeters, which means basically the disc is going to need to be 175 grams or less to be PDGA legal. You're like, cool, that's easy, whatever, no big deal. The thing is, my materials have a density. The density is about 1.37 grams per centimeter cubed, which is significantly more dense than other materials. So like most plastics are going to be like 1.15, 1.2 grams per centimeter cubed. The weight is going to be the density times the volume will give you the mass, like the weight. So basically I need to make a disc with less volume than every other company does. So my discs need to be, that's what this little denomination is down here, 125 cubic centimeters of volume to basically meet the PDGA weight requirements. Most other companies can make their discs have 140 cubic centimeters of volume, which is a lot more room to play with when you're designing a disc, basically. That's one reason why it's really hard for me to design like distance drivers with really wide rims, because I got to do it with less material. Hopefully all my lines are connected. They're not. I'll figure out where they're disconnected. Give me a second. And I'm realizing there's a tiny little line right here that was still there, that was not connected to anything. And now, boom. There's the disc. It looks stupid in the best way possible. Cool, I actually really like that. Here, look, you can see the puddle toppiness of it. Okay, I like how it looks. I like how round this is. It's like a half circle almost. Maybe a little bit more material on the bottom than the top, which again might make it a little more stable, which I would like. But now I need to check the volume, which we're shooting for the first three numbers down here to be 125, and I'm way off. Cool. So now I do a bunch of messing with stuff. First, right off the bat, this could be more tapered. That might have helped a little bit. Let's see how much that helped. So we were at 137, now we're 135 again. It barely did anything. All right, here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking we have two distinct sections of the flight plate. We have sort of on the bottom, the top's going to remain the same with the flight plate, just bored flat. But this time, we're going to have it be 1.4 millimeters for a while, and then get wide just in the middle. 129, we're getting closer, folks. Oh, something's broken. Something is broken again. I don't know when that happened. Oh, boy. That's not good. Where is it now? 125.9. Boy, are we close. Okay, I'm going to literally wiggle some stuff around. Let's wiggle him around. What are we sitting at now? What did my wiggling do? 124.6. I wiggled too far. 124.8. I'm calling that good. If it's a little bit light, that's good. You can see the sketch within the shape. The green is where the sketch is. So that's what we're working with. I'd say it looks like Cody's design. There's less extreme in the middle, but like I said, with the volume, I just can't afford to go crazy with the middle of the disc. I do think it will make a difference, whether it's perceptible or not. I need to test it and find out. Okay, so basically at this point, some companies put it through like a simulation on the software on CAD and see how it's going to fly. I personally think that step, if you want to use it, go for it. I just don't see much value in that step personally. I'd be fooling myself if I thought I had a grasp of every variable that went into the flight of a disc. At the end of the day, everyone's going to throw a little differently. Every disc is going to fly a little differently for every person. Every disc is going to be physically a different shape in actual mass production than it ever was in CAD. It might be slight. Like I said, compression molding is good for dimensional accuracy, but it's not perfect. No manufacturing process is perfect. I was a manufacturing quality engineer at Abbott making like stent delivery systems. And the biggest thing I learned is that no manufacturing process is ever perfect, no matter how long people have been dedicated to making it perfect. Okay, so I made the shape into a mesh, which is basically like a bunch of little shapes that are easy for a 3D printing software to understand what it is. I'm going to close FreeCAD. Thank you, FreeCAD. You're the best free thing the world has ever seen. Welcome to the infinite abyss. Ooh. What am I doing? It's weird to be just like filming yourself. You just start saying random crap and you gotta live with yourself. You know, you gotta witness yourself. In this case, a million infinity times. And it's weird. So anyway, here we are. This is called a slicer. So 3D printing, well, my type of 3D printing, which is FDM, basically makes a bunch of little tiny 0.2 millimeter layers of material to form a disc. Here's my disc. And let's rotate it. This one should be a pretty easy one to print. The only issue is the puddle top is going to make me have to generate a bunch of what's called support material. So basically what it's going to happen is the 3D printer can't print on nothing. So it's going to print like a little scaffolding underneath the disc where the disc is not already touching the plate that it's printing onto, so that the printer can print on the scaffolding. And then I'll take you along with me. I'm going to have to tear the scaffolding off with my bare hands. I normally use pliers, but sometimes I use my hands a little bit. Anyway, that's not going to be fun, but you'll see it. Also, I'm probably going to print this twice. I'm not going to show you all this, but I will split it in half. So I'm going to split it in half into two halves on CAD and then print the top half and the bottom half and solder them together. Sometimes I have good success doing that. My computer's going really slow because it's like really old and it's running out of battery. And I'm just waiting for it to do its thing and slice, and it's taking forever. So basically, I'm just going to do this and then get it on the printer, start printing, and then go throw it. Okay, here we are at my 3D printer. It's not like a super nice one. It's just like a pretty normal one. It is direct drive, which means basically here's a spool of filament. It goes through this thing. It just tells you if the filament is out or not. Then it goes into here, and this little wheel, it basically grabs it with a gear and pushes it. It extrudes out of that little brass tip right there onto this, which is the build plate. And like I said, it builds it like layer by layer by layer. The Groundhog. I like to spray the build plate with some hairspray. We got the Tresemme Extra Hold hairspray. Zeta's here. Hi, Zeta. She loves to eat plastic, so this is like her favorite place to be. I don't actually let her eat plastic. She just chews on it and scratches at it. Alright, so I'm going to spray this thing. Hey, buddy. Binksy boy. You want to say hi? Say hi to your fans?
Tomorrow.
Yeah, now is the really fun part where, as I talked about, there's all the support material. And especially because it's like a flexible filament, it's like really strong. It's attached. So I've got pliers number 1, pliers number 2, and a vice grip just in case I get tired. I've got a couple discs here to do at once, so this is going to be kind of miserable. Here we go. You ready? This is what you got to do after you print a disc like this. That's the easy part. That's the easy part. And I'll be here a while. That's how much I got off. Okay, I actually want to film this because this might be satisfying. See that big flap of support material I have off? I'm going to do my best to get as much as I can. Well, I got a decent bit there. That's looking pretty good. This is actually going quite quickly. So anyway, I'll show you the finished result. Okay, it's been 25 minutes and I did it. There's a bunch of little stringies left on it, which some of you at home may be saying, whoa, wouldn't that affect the flight? Not really. It like negligibly. Like maybe technically it affects the flight, but like practically when I'm throwing it, no. So it should be good. You can see it has sort of like this little thumb track situation right there. It actually fits really nice where I like to put my thumb, but also like where my meat of my thumb right here folds over. It almost like latches on in there. So that feels really good. It doesn't feel like super deep or crazy deep or anything. It is a wonderful 35-degree day here at the field. LT's here.
Hi.
LT.
Hello.
Hi, look, there he is over there. I promise. I have the prototypes that I printed here, and then I have comparable discs in this bag, and we're just gonna throw them and compare how they feel and fly and look and stuff. So here we go. Do you want the Berg or the Berg X?
I'll throw it for you. What? Oh, they're different?
It's more stable.
Oh, okay.
Supposedly.
I've never even heard of a Bird X. Are they new?
Take these. I don't know. Newer than the Berg. Okay, go.
The Bird X. Holy dump.
I guess it is stable, huh?
Yes.
I
Holy
didn't only
dump.
want 200.
It wasn't too comfortable though.
No, they feel, all these feel kind of weird.
Yeah, maybe it's just the deep stuff like that though.
Yeah. Here's the range. The MVP Berg.
Listen to that snap.
So snappy. That also went like 250. I feel like I'd like it to not be able to go 250. That was kind of hyzery, but then it flew just like the Berg X.
Yeah.
Now I have the Groundhog. Do you want double color Groundhog or single color Groundhog?
I'll go double. I kind of like the bubblegum look right now. Real life, but it's just like a makeup thing, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, that was nice. Man, I saw the no glide in that though. It even had that little slight flip up in that, yeah.
It looked like it should have went further the whole time.
That's what I'm saying. Like it even had the flip up, but it didn't have the glide. And like I saw the flip, but it just didn't like do anything else but just make the flight and die.
Yeah. Okay. Let's hope this one does the same thing.
You throw it flat.
Yeah. Throw it flat. Can you throw it flat?
Dang.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna throw this one that's presumably really light first, and then you get to throw that good one.
Well,
I mean, especially like if it's light and it only goes that far.
did you try to throw it hard?
Kind of.
Did you? Okay.
I would have expected like a putter to go at 250 or something.
Yeah. Yeah, look at the dead glide on it right there. Literally, I feel like I threw that about 250 to, I mean, definitely further than Wayne, because It went about 3/4 of what it normally does, and I felt like then it just stopped.
Yeah.
Or like it got majority of the flight normally, but then it just died off.
All right. So here's the deal. I really like the Groundhog. I've tested it pretty extensively now. I could mess with it a little bit more and see what I could do, but at the end of the day, every phase of like progression in designing a mold, there's sort of like added variables. I gotta pay to get a mold made, so it's an investment. And this is always like a scary phase, going from the 3D printed version to the actual mold trial. But I think the disc is in a good spot where I'm guessing it might just get a little bit more stable. That's kind of what I notice with discs of the slower speeds. They tend to be a little more stable from the 3D printed version to the mold trial, in my manufacturing process at least. So I'd say if anything, that's cool. I'm happy with that. So I'm going for it. I'll see you when I finally get it in. It takes a while to make a mold, so see you soon.
Later.
Okay, so I have the mold trial samples of the Groundhog here. I love how it turned out. It feels awesome. It's not always every time that well, actually this is the first time that I design a disc. First try, I liked the 3D printed version, and then first try, I liked the mold. I think it's a little more stable than the 3D printed version, but not in a bad way. So I have those. Then I have all the comparable discs. I also added a zone in here, just because it's like the premier approach disc. So I got all these. I'm going to throw them maybe a couple times and just compare how they fly. I'm going to start with the zone. That was low. I don't know why it flew so straight. I haven't thrown a zone in a really long time because I have the Screech. So here is the Groundhog versus the Berg X. I guess like a similar shape, but just like the Groundhog isn't as tall and weird feeling. So that's really good. But here's the Berg X. Okay, a little low, a little bit of hyzer. Just held it and fell out of the sky. Here's the Berg. Here is the range. It definitely had the most turn on it, and I feel like it got the furthest. So that's kind of what I experienced beforehand too. And finally, here's the Groundhog. Okay, I threw that really similar to the Berg X, and it landed like basically on top of the Berg X. I really just wanted a less ground play and more comfortable Berg X. Basically what I wanted, and I got it. So yeah, I threw that one like as hard as I could, and it's in like the same spot. So that's awesome. Okay, so overall, I absolutely love the Groundhog. Maybe this was a bad one to film because it seems like I just kind of got it right the first time, which is not normal. But I'm happy about it. So now the hardest part is just getting the stamp together and the colors the first run. So that's not bad. Okay, people, so here I am. I use Affinity Designer 2 to pick colors. Basically what happened was I got excited about picking colors. I picked 3 out of 4 colorways that I was going to do for the groundhog. And then I remembered I was supposed to film it. But you know what? It would have taken, it takes me a long time to pick colors anyway. So you don't want to see it all. We'll do the last one together. But this is what we're working with. In the meantime, Drake Bendabout from Team Elevation has made this sick stamp that is Groundhog casting his shadow on the city. Groundhogzilla approaches. Just fun way to like play on the idea of a groundhog looking at a shadow and kind of Godzilla. And then this is a shout out to the Interceptor, which I thought was cool that he did that. But Drake is an awesome artist. He's also making another stamp for us that you'll see really soon, probably by the time this video comes out. Cool guy. Hit him up if you want stamps made. Otherwise, just enjoy his awesome artwork. So anyway, that's sick. The colors I already have are going to be this one in OG, sort of like a blue-green-ish pink and white moment. Similar colors, but with like a gold sort of instead of pink. Oh yeah, one thing is when I'm picking colors, first they need to be Pantone colors, which are basically like real life physical colors. So for example, this is Pantone 3252. This is Pantone 7548. If that sounds weird to you, it is kind of weird. Basically, Pantone is in charge of making colors for like the textile industry or the consumer goods industry. So we can all get on board about like, okay, this is an actual color that can be physically made, not just like a digital color, because computers and TVs and stuff can show you more colors than we could realistically make in the real world. And let me show you, this is going to be the EcoFlex, sort of like red, white, and blue, but not exactly reddish, white, and bluish. But basically, we're going to mess with these colors. So I have a friend from San Antonio who always said that he wanted Fiesta colors, which Fiesta is like a festival in San Antonio, sort of like a Mexican themed like giant citywide party. And it's sort of like classic Mexican Fiesta, piñata, the little banner thingies colors. So yeah, we're gonna go with that. I need to make the colors, I need to reuse colors wherever possible. I was designing these ones in mind of that. So basically, I need to reuse colors because they make big batches of the material in certain colors. So it just makes it easier for manufacturing if I can reuse colors where possible. So essentially what I'm going to use is Pantone 806 is the pink I wanted to use, which is this one. The colors are like pink, teal, and like orange. So if you get where I'm going with this, this is already the teal I wanted to use, Pantone 3252. And then all we need is the orange that I wanted to use, 7548. There we go. And that's Fiesta colors. I kind of already picked these colors first. Basically, you saw just the fastest version of picking colors. This took me like an hour to do all of this. I had these colors in mind, and then I made all the other colorways. But basically, normally, like the other ones, for example, I had like Pantone 806 in mind, and then I had that, and I was like, okay, what looks good with Pantone 806? And there's all of these color options. And one of them I landed on, instead of this orange, like we want to do white. I thought that looked cool. But when I'm doing this, I'm just literally, sometimes I pull out a color wheel. Sometimes I pull out like things of inspiration, like, you know, whatever sports teams products I have, water bottles, I don't know. And have like jumping off points of what colors look good together. And then I mess around with the specific Pantone colors. Like that looks cool. That looks really good. I should probably make that sometime. Next time. So yeah, that's how I picked the colors. And then the actual colors vary a little bit, but pretty close. Yeah, you'll see the actual disc soon. Tell me what color you like the best, I guess. I don't know.
Many months later.
Alright, I just helped FedEx drop off all these goodies. Have not looked at any of them yet. So here we go. I'm gonna open them up, move them over there. Alright, this is the first box I'm opening. I haven't even looked at pictures of these yet, so this is exciting. I don't know which one this is gonna be. I got groundhogs. Those look nice. I got groundhogs, I got koi, I got binxes. So we'll see. Ooh, there's a groundhog. Whoa. I really like it. I think this is the Fiesta one. And the stamp. That's sick. Drake did an awesome job with that one. Box number 2. Oh, I think this is another one. Sweet. And this is OG. I haven't felt any groundhogs in OG yet. Oh, wow. That's sick. I like how it's like splotchy looking. That's cool. That turned out really nice. Super floppy. That'll be fun to try out. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Look at that droop. That's not going nowhere when it hits the ground. Sweet. I think this is the groundhog again. I like how these turned out. And if you're somebody who likes green, the blue and yellow are mixing together and make nice green in there too. But again, oh my gosh, that's so floppy. That's gotta be one of the floppiest discs we've ever made. Okay, we got another new one. Nice. That looks good. I love how these turned out. They feel great. Pretty stiff for EcoFlex. I think that'll be a nice compliment to like how floppy the OG are.
Who you talking to?
All right, people. I'm here with Binks. It's been a little while since the first run of the Groundhog released, and it went like super well. You guys loved it. I sold out really quickly. The overwhelming consensus from the retailers I work with was that they sold out really quickly. People want more groundhogs. It's been a long time, I think, since there's been this much excitement about a mold that I've made. So basically, that's awesome. But we really need to go back to the man that started this all. One of our earliest supporters, someone who has been making videos about elevation for a long time, particularly about his disc, the CEO, the Binks, and see what he thinks. Because that's kind of like the whole point of me making discs for the people in my community, to have discs that work well for them and that they like. And in the case of the groundhog, that's Cody. So Cody, what'd you think?
When I went to Elevation and asked them to make a disc that takes the weight from the rim and focuses it into the center so that it would reduce spin and force it to the ground, I did it with this hole in mind. And thank you, Elevation, for designing a perfect rendition of that and putting the rim on it, the little thumb track, or the speed bump as you called it, Austin. So let's give it a try. OB behind the basket, 200 feet. She goes to the ground and sits. That's what we was made for. Let's go. All right, guys, see out here, Timmons. This is hole 7. It's 220 feet straight down the path, but there's a creek right behind it, so you got OB behind it. When you need to throw 220 feet with the OB behind the basket, and you need a safe landing, let's go with the groundhog. This is what I really want to see. I mean, groundhog for the win. So when I was thinking about this design for the groundhog, you know, with the weight in the center of the disc to stop the spin and get it to the ground quick, I was thinking of holes just like this. Holes that are short, possibly downhill, with OB behind the basket, and you need a safe landing, and you don't need to be careful with your throw. You can throw it full speed and you don't have to worry about it. Groundhog, let's check it out. So this is a 220 foot hole, and you can see right behind the basket's the creek. Groundhog sitting right next to it. Let's go for the win.